How's it going, everyone? Rosalind here. So today is going to be a quick video going over the best shard commands in the Legend of Heroes Kai no Kiseki Farewell O Zemuria. I touched on shard commands in my video going over all the changes and additions to Kai no Kiseki's battle system, so you can check that out if you're curious. I'll leave a link to it in the video description below. But essentially, they are the Calvard Ark's version of Brave Orders, using the boost gauge as a resource instead of BP. In total, there are 22 different shard commands in Kai no Kiseki, with 4 of them being generic commands, 12 character-specific shard commands, and finally 6 holocore-specific ones. The 4 generic shard commands are available at all times, regardless of who is in your party and what holocores you have equipped. They only cost 1 BP to use, and while not necessarily bad, they are on the weaker side. Character-specific shard commands cost 2 BP to use and require a specific character to either be in your active party, in reserve, or in a supporting slot. Strong character-specific shard commands include Rizette's Crystal Shell, Toa's Polaris Shield, and Ren's Fastest Code. Crystal Shell restores 10% HP and EP upon activation, and then for 10 counts, reduces all incoming damage by 70%. Polaris Shield heals 25% HP and EP upon activation, and then for 6 counts, reduces all incoming damage by 70%. And finally, Fastest Code restores 20% EP upon activation, and then for 8 counts, reduces casting speed and recast time by 60%. Now those are 3 examples of some of the stronger shard commands in Kai no Kiseki, but in general all commands are pretty close in terms of balance. That is of course except for 2 holocore specific shard commands that are head and shoulders better than everything else. So much so that if it weren't for Kai no Kiseki's increased difficulty, they would easily destroy any semblance of game balance. Something they actually do already for any difficulty below Nightmare, but in the case of Nightmare specifically, they are pretty much required for some of the later fights. But that's enough preamble, let's actually talk about these 2 shard commands. The first of which is Goldius Guard, which requires a character in your active party or in reserve to have the Pater Mater Hollow Core equipped in order to use. Goldius Guard has no activation bonus attached to it, so no healing upon activation or anything like that, but what it does do is reduce all incoming damage by 90% for 8 counts. Combine this with a shield such as Rizette's Cobalt Curtain or Altina's S-Craft, and you're about as invincible as you can get on any difficulty other than Nightmare. You get access to the Pater Mater Holocore as soon as Ren joins your party during Vaughn's Chapter 2 Part 2, after which you'll be able to equip it to any character, giving you access to Goldius Guard even during Reen and Kevin's segments. For the second of the 2 broken shard commands, we have Ultimate Wind, which, just like with Goldius Guard, requires a character in your active party or in reserve to have a specific holocore equipped, in this case, the Altera holocore. Ultimate Wind restores 10 CP to all characters upon activation, but it also, and most importantly, reduces casting speed and recast time by 80% for 6 counts. This is a massive reduction to cast speed and recast time, causing arts to become almost instant cast, and fast characters to be able to take seemingly infinite turns on difficulties below Nightmare. And even then on Nightmare, it's not uncommon to see a character take 6+ turns in a row, especially if your name is Judith. In order to obtain the Altera Holocore, you simply need to complete Lapis's Connect event during Kevin's Chapter 3 Part 2, after which you'll have it available to you to use on all routes. Now these 2 shard commands are absurdly strong, and completely warp game balance below Nightmare difficulty. But on Nightmare difficulty, they help to level the playing field. Ultimate Wind allows your party to keep up with the speed values of the game's bosses, and Goldius Guard ensures that you aren't getting one-shot by them. This isn't Daybreak 1 and 2, where there was essentially no difference between Very Easy and Nightmare. Kai no Kiseki bosses, especially in the late game, don't play around on Nightmare, making these 2 shard commands fun ways to break the game on easier difficulties and essential tools on Nightmare. But anyways, that'll do it for this quick video going over the best shard commands in the Legend of Heroes Kai no Kiseki Farewell O Zemuria. If you have any questions about this video, Kai no Kiseki, or any other game that I cover, feel free to hit me up over on Twitch at twitch.tv/RosalindGaming or my Discord server, both of which you can find links to in the video description below. Until next time, take care.